he's Batman. You know, that's the way I look at it. And he wants to do what he wants to do. And if you don't, you know what you're getting when you invest in Tesla shares.
Kevin O'Leary goes on TV and raves about Tesla. Let's take a look.
You think about the comments that you just heard from Elon Musk, what he had to say yesterday, and a wide range of topics that he discussed. At the end of the day, this is a company that is investing heavily at the same time that many other automotive companies are investing heavily in their next leg of growth.
Many automakers are investing heavily. For example, and this is a good one, Toyota is investing in delaying the transition to EVs.
Each quarter, including this one, there's always the speculation by the market that competition is going to erode margins. Competition is going to erode share. Competition is going to slow growth. And yet, that has not happened. There is no company yet that's transitioned to the effectiveness and the efficiency and the productivity that Tesla has around drivetrain, around engine, around chipsets, around batteries. Sure. So there's a moat around Tesla because it was, the first mover, but they've maintained their share through innovation. Everybody criticizes this guy for a million different reasons. But at the end of the day, when you ask somebody if you want to buy an EV, what do they want? They want a Tesla. So GM hasn't come with anybody wants. Porsche hasn't done it yet. I'm not saying they won't, but it hasn't happened yet.
Here's what's ridiculous. All of these automakers, they talk about making an EV that is basically as good as current Teslas. But the thing is, they are planning to make these often years from now. And then the car eventually comes, well, turns out it doesn't even match Tesla's range. For example, BMW i4 has 301 miles. But I remember years ago reading articles that the BMW i4 is going to have nearly 400 miles of range, seriously kicking Tesla's butt. While many automakers are just trying to beat Tesla where Tesla is right now, Tesla announces that the next generation vehicle is going to be heads and shoulders above everything that's present today.
Both the design of the products and the manufacturing techniques are head and shoulders above anything else that is present in industry. We'll probably make in excess of 5 million units a year of these two models combined.
Meanwhile, they gain share, they reduce price, they're getting more aggressive, they're bringing the truck. I don't see a bad story here, and it's reflected in the stock, although it's a volatile stock.
Sure.
But if he's saying there's headwinds economically globally, that's the same environment for every company, whether they're in the EV market or not. What they've got that no one else has is 100% focus on EV. They're not dealing with legacy engines of any kind.
Nice.
Including BYD, they still sell many hybrids.
You have a much more efficient use and a much more productive company.
Do you think the Cybertruck is an additive or if I put it simple terms, boom or a bust for Tesla long term?
It's going to be a boom because that crazy looking vehicle has already shown its popularity on pre-orders 2 years ago.
Why?
I want one.
Me too.
I think they're nuts, and I think it would be a lot of fun to drive a tank, because that's what it is. But now a tank where you don't have to feel guilty about it. It's an EV, but it's got a lot of room. It's a very interesting vehicle. It's got a really ugly look. Ugly is interesting. And, to be honest with you, I've got investments in providers that are providing technology for that truck, and we know the demand is huge. It's huge. Now, this issue around four-wheel versus two-wheel, if he comes with a two-wheel first, there'll still be demand for it. Because the truth is, most people don't drive these trucks off-road. But if you wanted to drive that thing off-road, you could. I like it, and I think, I'm on the list to get one.
Now it all comes down to how much it is going to cost to consumers. I don't think we will see these low prices that Tesla announced before. It was supposed to cost just $40,000 for the lowest trim and $50,000 for the trim that I think most people would go for. I don't think it is going to be that cheap. The demand will largely be determined by how expensive is this truck really going to be? And we'll find out relatively soon.
Do you think it'll appeal to the parts of America or more broadly internationally where there has already been a strong pickup truck market share that has been maintained?
Well, I love my F-150.
Okay.
And so...
You would trade in your F-150?
I don't know yet. I want to try
Cybertruck.
this. And this is a bit of a hybrid on the 150. I use the 150 all the time. It's like driving your living room around. The thing is so spacious and quiet and everything else. And that's the most advanced pickup truck and the most in demand. The electric vehicle of that version has not yet enticed me to switch over yet because of battery concerns, about concerns in cold weather, all kinds of other things. The one thing I really like about the story that I learned yesterday on the whole Elon thing, the margins on this truck could be really high. I mean, this is going to be because they've had so much efficiency in manufacturing costs since they announced the truck. They're probably picking up, you know, a 10, 12% more margin on that thing.
That's certainly another way to look at all of this. Maybe the price to consumers is going to be higher, but the margins perhaps are going to be as nice as some of these Tesla stock buying opportunities that we had in December and January.
And so at a time where consumers also are being more judicious, more discretionary, even about vehicle spends. So how is Tesla and the broader automotive landscape, how is that shaping up in terms of the demand that's actually pulling through, going into either a Tesla storefront or a dealership and saying, yeah, I'm still going to commit to buy, or I'm still going to get favorable enough financing terms that make this purchase make sense?
On the mainstream vehicles, they have cut costs several times now. They're getting competitive, but it's not just because they feel the market is softened. It's because they would like to get more share. Remember, this company, although they've talked about advertising, hasn't spent a cent on it yet. He owns his own global network called Twitter. He's constantly promoting Tesla and SpaceX on it all the time.
Which he has said is a distraction, Twitter.
Well, he's got a new CEO, you know, so I mean, you know, the interesting thing about this guy is the productivity, what he's achieved with all that criticism he gets. Like, he's Batman, you know, that's the way I look at it. And he wants to do what he wants to do. And if you don't, you know what you're getting when you invest in Tesla shares.
I see quite a lot of people complaining about Elon's behavior, and while I understand that criticism, you do exactly what you signed up for. It's like going on a roller coaster and saying, oh, this is scary. I don't want this to be scary. It's a roller coaster. It might be scary, but it's actually pretty safe.
Look, he gets himself in a lot of trouble that must be a big time distraction. All the litigation and all the stuff that he has to deal with by just a non-stop barrage of communications that are sometimes offside. But on the other hand, he is who he is.
I really don't mind Elon's behavior because I'm buying more Tesla stock, and these behaviors, you know, they create buying opportunities.
From the relationships that you've got with companies that you've invested in and the engagements that they've seen with their own customers, whether that be business to business or business to consumer, what type of economic pullback, what type of recession, even shallow, mild, severe, are they foreseeing or anticipating?
This is the crazy thing. I have to spend money on inventory for Q3 and 4 now. I've got to buy that inventory. And I have to guesstimate the slowdown. I have no slowdown yet. And yet I don't want to overspend on inventory. So I'm being cautious and telling my CEOs, pull your horns in a little bit. But what I'm more worried about is that there is no capital available for businesses from 5 to 500 employees anymore. People talk about a slowdown on lending. Let me assure you, there is no lending. And that's because of the Silicon Valley Bank collapse and the other two banks. The smaller banks have stopped lending money.
We saw a high drop in lending. Commercial bank lending dropped nearly $105 billion in the 2 weeks ended March 29, the most in Federal Reserve data back to 1973. Over 36% of US adults owe more money in credit card debt than they have saved, and some are turning to credit cards to pay their mortgages. In Canada, our central bank decided to no longer increase interest rates, and what happened? Inflation increased as well. So maybe these rate cuts are not happening that fast, possibly creating a recession, making it longer and more severe. But most importantly, possibly giving us a huge Tesla stock buying opportunity. Tesla also gave us an update about advertising. Tesla confirmed that the company is open to trying advertising, and that although the topic of advertising came up during this week's annual shareholder meeting and received warm reception from the audience, this has been contemplated upon internally by the team for several months already. Tesla believes its main advertising challenge is with auto consumers' awareness around battery life and charging capabilities and durability. this issue of awareness exists even in high EV saturation areas like California, which implies there could be even more room to improve elsewhere in the country. With that said, the company indicated that it's still early days and it will need to be thoughtful about the exact channel and strategy. I share my thoughts about Tesla starting to advertise in this video. My name is Matt Post. Just like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.